Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Career Development Center, January monthly meeting. It is January 13th, 2020. Public comments. Seeing none, we'll move on. Consent agendas. Minutes from the CDC December 2019 full board meeting.
I will move.
Second. Randy moved, Ken second. Comments? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Consent agenda payroll warrants, 1,024, 1,026, 1,028.
So moved. Second.
Randy moved, John second. Comments? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Vendor warrants, 1,025, 1,027.
So moved. Second.
Randy moved, John second. Comments? Seeing none, raise your right hand, please. And attached either to your packets or in the Dropbox. Did we ever get back to the Dropbox, or that's, we did? Okay. You'll find the cash flow and the revenue and expenses. Committee reports, we had one tonight. I don't believe there were any other committee reports for the committees.
Well, the PSP committee met, but all we did was, it was basically an organizational type of meeting, setting meeting times and dates.
What is the ESP?
The support personnel contract, negotiations.
I just wanted the public to fully understand what you were talking about. And the educators negotiations, have that?
The teachers, that's gonna be this Thursday, right after the ESP.
Okay, so that's the beginning of it all?
No, we've met before and we've had proposals back and forth.
Okay. We did have a committee,
Education.
education. Jackie is the chair. Would you give us a little update?
Yes, we had a brief meeting tonight discussing a possible and hopefully concrete change for our shortening the name of the Southwest Vermont Technical Development Center to the Southwest Tech. So we're hoping that that will be a good change and will promote our center even more than it is now. And the students and teachers have all given suggestions, and this is the culmination of what they have suggested. And for the most part, our board approves, and within the next 2 months, you'll hear more about it.
I think that's all there is for committees. We have some action items tonight. The first one is the announced tuition. Mike, would you just?
I'm going to give that to the business manager.
Becky? Okay.
So at our last board meeting, we voted on the budget and the announced tuition. And since that vote, and when I presented, the 6-semester average was estimated because the state was running a little bit behind with their data. And in the past, decimal places were carried out 4 places. They've now done rounding. Because of that, and you can see both in the Dropbox and some people may have a hard copy, the new 6-semester average FTE is 153.56. They carried it only to 2 decimal places. That resulted in a $10 decrease. So it went down $10 what the announced tuition would be because of that change in FTEs. So the change was only 0.07. Again, it was all because of rounding. And because of that, I'm asking for the board to consider and vote with a new announced tuition of $21,664. Now, the last time you voted, it was $21,674. So it's going down $10, but just so it would be in the minutes that you've approved the new announced tuition at $21,664. Are there any questions about it?
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Randy motioned it, John second. Discussion. I see no discussion. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Thank you. That moves forward. We also have the ballot warning that will be at our annual meeting on March 3rd, 2020. Hopefully everybody will be there to meet with us. Do we just need to make a motion on this and accept
I'll make
it
a
back?
motion.
Franny made the motion,
I'll second.
Mike second. Any discussion?
I just want
Go
to,
ahead.
just remind people that if you are up for reelection, the petitions are due by January 27th at 5 p.m. and you need 30 voter signatures. And you'll see on this right now, there are 3 seats available, so just kind of keep that in mind.
You stole my thunder, Becky.
Sorry,
Thank you.
so sorry.
That's just less words I have to speak.
There can be 30 signatures from anybody who's a registered voter in Bennington County.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous? All right. Field trips, culinary, pro start competition. Talk a little bit about that, Mike, please.
Sure, if I could make, there's an error on the field trip request, it's not out of state, but it is overnight, it's just a wrong checkbox on here. It's our annual, the culinary program's annual competition at the Culinary Institute of America up in Montpelier. Pro Start, they normally do very well and usually head on to regionals and nationals, so this is just their trip. They've been practicing. If you've been near my office anytime after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it smells like steak and filet mignon and lamb chops, I don't even know. Makes me very hungry in the afternoon. But it looks delicious and smells delicious, so I wish them well. And that trip is not until March, but historically, this board does not meet in February, so it'd be too late for the March meeting to get this in, so that's why it's here a little bit early.
Can I have a motion, please?
So move.
Franny moved,
Sorry.
John second. Discussion? Seeing none, raise your right hand, please. Unanimous. Also, the pro start competition, or is that it?
I think that was it.
That was it, okay. Retirement.
In your Dropbox or your paper packet, there is a retirement letter in here which I would like to read for the public and for the board. Contractually, teachers who wish to retire and retain their retirement benefits through the collective bargaining agreement need to notify the district by January 6th of the expiring school year. So that's why they come in a little bit early. It's a contractual requirement. Read this to you, dear Mike. There comes a time when we all must make difficult decisions. That time has come for me. I've decided to retire my position as accounting and finance instructor effective June 30th, 2020. The last 23 years have been filled with many challenges, rewards, personal achievement, and satisfaction. The most rewarding and satisfying experiences have come from working with our students and watching them become successful in school and in their years after high school. I would like to keep in touch with the center as a substitute and would be willing to serve on program advisory boards if possible. I would like to thank the administration for allowing me the flexibility to teach as many students as possible during our sometimes restrictive day. Sincerely, Neil Hogan. So, Neil's been here for 23 years. He's one of the most senior teachers that is still with us. And I know that this is very bittersweet for Neil. And I would like to congratulate him on his retirement. For those that don't know, Neil has the ability to take students all day long on all sorts of different schedules. Kids come and go out of accounting and finance all day long. And he somehow has the ability to make that work. I don't know that I could have done it as a teacher, but he has the flexibility and the knack to make that happen. He individualizes learning for every single student in that classroom. It's pretty amazing to watch. And so it's certainly going to be hard shoes to fill for Neil. But we will post the position. The program has healthy enrollment, it always has. It's an important part of both our campus store and in collaboration with our business program. So, big shoes to fill, I'll say. So what I have.
Motion to accept his resignation, or his retirement, excuse me.
I'll make that motion with regret.
Randy made a motion.
Second.
Ken made the second. Any further discussion? See you done, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Not the only, you can't shoot him for desertion.
Okay, nominations for the CTSO position. Would you go on a little bit about why we're seeing those?
Yes, absolutely. So, as you know, we have several CTSOs, which are our career and technical student organizations. For us, there are sports teams, if you will, our Skills USA, DECA, FBLA, ProStar, all those things. Excuse me. However, those positions are up yearly, if you will, as advisors, and they are paid under the teacher's collective bargaining agreement. And so, Becky and I talking, we think that it's, and it has been past practice, just not recent past practice, that because these are stipend positions within the school district approved by the teacher's contract, that we bring them forward to the board to officiate the nomination. So folks, you'll see us going forward from year to year now. People who are interested in the building submitted a letter of intent to be the advisor. Those are in your packet or Dropbox, and we have nominations forms for them tonight. So it's really just a formality. These are not externally posted positions. They're only eligible for people who are teaching in our tech center and in our programs. So there are 5 tonight. DECA, which is Distributive Education Clubs of America. That is our marketing and, I can't remember what it is, just marketing, right, and accounting. FBLA, which is our Future Business Leaders of America. Skills USA, which you hear a lot about, that involves almost all of our programs that attend Skills USA. HOSA is the Health Occupations. That is a new, started it last year. The instructor finds it more beneficial than Skills USA for her students, so we became a member of HOSA last year. And ProStar, which of course you just approved the culinary field trip for ProStar, that is becoming a student organization as it should be. It's a lot of extra work after school for the students and the advisors. So there are 5 nominations here for, I don't want to take one at a time together.
I don't think so. Why don't we make a motion to take all 5 of them at once?
Could I ask
And then we'll have a discussion.
one question?
Sure.
I noticed Neil's on here. Will he continue through the full year, or is it just for this next few months?
So these positions, these teachers have already started, these clubs already met and they're advising, and we are just bringing them to you now, so I think we should. So these would be kind of effective, as the start of the school year, continue to the end of the school year.
Okay.
So they're yearly positions, which we'll bring back to you hopefully every August at this point, or September, once we get letters of interest. There were no conflicts in interest with this. There were no 2 teachers who wanted to do 2 different clubs or anything like that. So I would like to just say who the nominees are for each of these positions, if you're okay with that.
No, fine.
So for Skills USA advisor is Jennifer Morgan Hall. Jen is our cosmetology instructor. For our ProStart advisor, it would be Jamie Lynn Schmidt, who of course is our culinary instructor. For the HOSA CTSO advisor would be Kathy Slade, which is of course our medical professions instructor. Lori Wright, who has been a longtime DECA advisor. And also Neil Hogan, who's been the FBLA CTSO advisor for many years, and will continue this year. I'd like to bring your attention to the nomination form. They look a little bit different. We have modified the nomination forms going forward to have more information on them, such as under criminal background check boxes for us internally to make sure that all these things have been done, which include your BCIC check, also the new requirements from the Child Protection Registry and the Vulnerable Adult Abuse and Neglect Registry, which we have to check. And along the bottom, you'll see where these are approved by both the HR and business office and by me for accuracy and content. And that's about it on there. It's just a little bit different. So all nomination forms going forward will have this information on them. So, that's all I have.
May I have the motion?
So moved.
Second. Randy made a motion. John, second. Discussion.
Is that to accept the whole panel?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the time to discuss. If for some reason you don't want to accept that whole five, just let us know and we'll break them up for you. More than happy to.
I think that's fine.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. All right, let's go to lead policies. Okay, we have three that are going to be worn. First one is the use of school facilities. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Approved.
What's the number of that, Rick?
That is policy number 1090C, use of school facilities. Randy moved it.
Second.
Ken second. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Access control, policy number 3300C.
So moved. Second.
Randy moved, Ken second. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Security cameras, policy 3310C.
So moved. Second.
Getting, Randy made the move, Ken second. Discussion, please. Seeing none, raise your right hand. You agree? So be it. Okay, we have Vermont School Board Association membership. There's a discussion we need to have, and we'll let Mike present the discussion.
So thank you. So there was some discussion at a committee level about our current membership or continued membership in the Vermont School Boards Association, and the dues in which we were assessed for belonging to the School Boards Association. And so Ricky asked that this be brought before the board tonight for a discussion and a vote on whether we continue to be part of the Vermont School Boards Association and pay the dues in which they charge us, or not. In your packet, either hard copy or your Dropbox, there's a letter from the VSBA Executive Committee about membership and the benefits in which this board receives for being part of the VSBA. It is multiple pages long. There are things that you receive, such as new board member orientation, workshops, consultation if needed, video tutorials, advocacy at the General Assembly, and representation in Montpelier, basically. I'm not gonna read all 9 pages they're here for you to look at. Membership in the VSBA is not mandatory. It is, however, if you're not a member of the VSBA, individual services for things like workshops and webinars and things like that, they are charged for individually rather than as a collective agency. So the dues, I don't have the bill in front of me, they're, Becky, $3,800 a year. I did inquire with the executive director of how those dues are calculated. And I was told that 50% of the dues are assessed equally to all school districts in Vermont, no matter their size or makeup. The other 50% is made up of the average daily membership, or ADM. When I spoke with the executive director, I asked her that we're told that we don't have ADM here at the tech center, we're a shared time school, and she could just tell me how it was calculated so the board was more informed about that. She advised me that we are only charged the 50% rate that all school districts are assessed, which is the $3,800 and change per year. So bring it up for discussion tonight and for a vote on what you would like to do with that.
I will just bring up my feelings on it. In Vermont School Board Association, I was part of their board representing Bennington County and had I think, good success. I don't think they threw me out. It's probably a great organization. My I think my biggest issue with it is that, yes, it is a advocacy for the boards. Very similar to unions for teachers and the ESP. Almost any group you can imagine, I can list hundreds of them. But they are representing us, and all I'm kind of saying is I'm not really sure that we have a great need for them. And at $4,000, I can remember us having some serious discussions, where can we find the money for driver's ed? Well, there's $4,000 right there. I don't know if we didn't pay the bill this year and they dropped us, whether they would allow us back in next year. I would assume they would. But I thought personally I would drop it, and let's see if, in a year's time, we found that, my goodness, it costs us more to not be a member than it did to be a member. That's my 2 cents, and I'm not gonna be, telling people you have to do it a different way.
Have we had members that have attended their trainings and workshops? If anyone in this room has attended them and they can speak to them, and the value of those, I think that would be beneficial.
I've attended them, and the benefit that I see is they explain what's happening in Montpelier a little bit better than I read in the paper. In other words, in fact, I just attended one last week, not in person, but online, because they had the seminar online. And then they send you all of the paperwork, so you can review, if you miss some of the video going on during the call-in. And so they capture that. And they were explaining at that time, the changes in the legislation, or not the legislation, the changes in the 8% that the SBSU had to pay. Now, I don't know what our changes are for healthcare, but they were explaining that better than what I read in the paper. And I don't know, since the healthcare for all teachers and all aides will be negotiated up at the state level, I think an advocacy from this organization, the SBBA, would be beneficial if they had more people behind them. If all the schools drop out, or half a dozen of the schools drop out, then they would have less support. But that's just how I look at things. But yes, every time they have a seminar, I attend it.
What about the trainings?
That's what I attend.
Did you attend a workshop or a training?
Yes, and then
both?
2 years ago, I attended the negotiation workshop that they brought down to Arlington.
I'm particularly asking about the trainings that they bring in for superintendents and board members and new board members. They've had them here, I've never come. Did anyone participate in those?
Yes.
Yeah, I've gone to them, and I found them worthwhile, especially for when I was green first
Mhm.
year, and I'm still finding them worthwhile when I go.
There's one next week, too.
I'm particularly looking at for the new board member, like onboarding a new board member.
They're of value for a brand new board member, but we have to acknowledge that Montpelier keeps writing one law after another. And when they have these workshops, we are finding details about how it's going to affect us that we wouldn't find out otherwise, or that it would come through the administrator, and they're busy enough without having every detail. And board members have to be cognizant of what Montpelier is doing. So in that context, I think they're probably of value. I don't.
The one that they have up at Lake Maury every year in October, I have found, I didn't attend the one this year because I had a conflict, but I found them very invaluable because you get to meet other people in similar situations. You get to participate in the vote. One person from this board gets to vote, I think it was Leon this year, on their rules and regulations. The entertainment was, but I didn't go for the entertainment, but they presented then, I think 8 different workshops during the day, 4 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, and then the next day they had 3, I think. And you can go through these presentations and learn a lot.
So is that less than half of the people on the board that are participating in these workshops and trainings?
Well, I look at the material that they sent out. I attended the initial training one year and that kind of thing, and I felt it was helpful. You know, and I read through the stuff that they send to my email. You know, that's I find helpful in terms of understanding what's going on and what some of the issues are in Montpelier and so forth. I guess I in some ways have a similar question. So Rich, is it $4,000? Is the question. And I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about that. I just don't know. But I know that it's been very helpful for me.
Could an individual attend a workshop or a training if we were not members and they pay individually?
So that question was raised with the executive director. I'll give you a concrete example. The short answer is yes, that the district would pay for that, not the individual board member. To give you an example, there was a webinar last week on healthcare changes, which I know Becky attended, and I think it might be registered for one in Brattleboro next week.
Yeah, which they canceled.
So I was asked that if we chose not to be a member, or if this board chose not to be a member, that we would be charged $480, not per person, but per district.
For that one.
That one webinar, for example. Because, you know, they put time and money into it with their attorneys and staff to put the webinar together. I can't, they work for the school boards, not for me as a superintendent. We have our own association, so I don't know the worth to, for, that's really for you guys to decide, this board to decide if that's something that you want to belong to. I mean, I'm neutral on the issue because it doesn't, I won't say it doesn't affect me, but it's, I get information from them just like you do. But I don't know, is it $4,000 worth of information? I guess that's the question, and that's really for everyone here to decide. So.
We had one meeting here a year ago where they brought Dan French down who explained some of the laws that had been passed by Montpelier, and I thought that was a very useful meeting in terms of educating board members. So,
I served on the board up here for 12 years. I used to go once a month up to Montpelier, and I don't think that the local boards use the skills they have up there. Like, we have a policy committee that we have trouble sometimes getting people to serve on. They will take any policy that the legislature recommends, like when they had idling in the buses and stuff like that. They will get it one written up, they will give it to their legal counsel, they will approve it, and it's available for any school board member that wants to just adopt it, and that's it. Superintendent evaluations, if we wanted to, and what we could do is tell them we want one. They've got like a 5-page item. They would send it electronically to every board member. We would all fill them out, they would collate them, send them back up there, and they would send the results to the chairman of the board. And it's on, are they doing this, are they doing this? So I think they do a lot. They really do, it's just that we don't use them a lot. And I think we probably should, but like I say, our policies, evaluations, they do a lot of good stuff up there.
You also attended the Lake Maury conference.
Oh, yeah, I've been to all of those years, yeah.
Myself, I've done the Lake Maury thing, and I've been to almost every year to the meetings that they have here too. I think they are informative, mostly for the new board members, but not as, you hear the same thing over and over again every time you go to the meeting, so a lot of that stuff I have sent to me now, but for new board members, absolutely do 1 or 2 of those meetings. It is helpful, so. But whether we need it or not, I don't know.
I think the question you have to ask yourself is it worth $350 per board member every year?
400, I think he said.
Well, they're 800 by 11. We got 11 or 9 on this, but So is that of value to you? And to me, that isn't where it ends, because when we go to Lake Maury, I would hand them an expense and they would pay it out of our pockets again. So I don't know what the bottom line is. It's sure more than $3,800. I'm not against educating the new people coming in, but I'm just questioning, is that really what we wanna do?
Well, if they have something 10 times a year, that would cover the $4,000.
It would, but, and I don't really wanna get off, and quite frankly, I don't really have a lot of skin in this game, so, I mean, whatever you want is fine. I just bring it up to the discussion. I worked at a place where they gave dental to the employees, and the next thing you know, they drop it. This is, why'd you drop dental? I'm like, I use it, I love it. You're the only one that used it. There's 30 other employees that never use it. That's why we dropped it. So I guess that's what I'm saying. Yes, there's people here that use this, they're probably getting at least a $350 worth every year. I'm just not sure that that money wouldn't be better put toward rubber on the road right here. I'm done with my comments on
When
it
do we have to make a decision on this?
right now.
Membership, we've held the invoice, it's past due, we want them along, so yeah, it would be tonight.
I can suggest that if we vote on this to approve it and take a look at it and see exactly what the benefits are gonna be this coming year, and look at it again the following year, and if it's something that we're really not using and we could put that money toward a program or driver's ed or something, then I would rather do that than automatically just, you know, to put it, so.
I think.
Just a suggestion.
Brand's got a good idea.
In other words,
Everybody can
table it for a year?
No, he's saying.
No, you
Vote on
gotta,
it.
you're gonna vote on it.
Yeah.
I would vote for it and look at the benefits that we're supposedly getting out of that.
Actually track it.
And yeah, and new board members, or whoever they may be, and look and see how valuable it is. It may not be to us, I don't know.
What are the dates? Does it begin in September? Does it begin in January?
Love it.
I bet he's on the invoice then.
Yeah, I believe it follows the school calendar because it says the 2019-2020 VSBA dues. So I believe it's a September to, well, it would be July 1 to June 30th.
So we're halfway through it anyway.
We're halfway through.
Just my suggestion.
It's just as
I
good
think
as
that's a good
anything.
idea. Everybody makes mental notes. If they use it, the superintendent keeps track if he uses it. Stuff like that.
You know, a lot of the stuff they'll send you right to your computer, so when you sign up, I mean, that's,
But you only get that if you're a member.
well,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
So I mean, from that aspect of it, that's where I get a lot of my information from. Can I dollars and cents that? That's why I have a question. I don't know that I can dollars and cents that, but I do know that the information is valuable.
My problem is I'm on too many boards and I get it sent to me anyway.
So my clarification of it, if I may, is that Franny is suggesting that we motion to pay this bill, and unfortunately, we're halfway through the year already, but to actually track the use of it, you'll know probably March, when we get some new board members, if we do, how much we use it, how many people attend the meetings. I would also add to it that we ought to also track all the additional costs that goes with it, paying for transportation, lodging, and whatever that we need to pay out of the CDC's budget. So, that is the motion. Anybody wanna
Second.
second? Ken? Now we'll have a discussion further, please.
I just want to
Go
clarify,
ahead.
we just verified it's September 1st to August 31st. It
Yes.
still kind of follows the school calendar, but it starts September 1st to August 31st for billing.
Okay.
Does the superintendent receive any information that's more valuable than what we get as board members? School Board Association?
I received just, believe the same information that you do. I do receive additional emails from the Vermont Superintendent's Association and Vermont Principals Association. But they're pretty similar content, I have to be quite honest with you. But I'm not trying to weigh in on this discussion. I do receive
No, I
emails
recognize that.
from them, and I do read some of the information, but I also get some from other sources too, so, it's not, I don't have a strong opinion about either way.
All right, so we had a motion, we had a second. All in favor of paying our dues for this year and to track for future year? Raise your right hand, please. It's unanimous. Thank you. I appreciate the discussion on that. Superintendent's report, Mike.
I have a few things tonight, nothing too much. I apologize, I couldn't be here last month, there was a family emergency, and I'd like to thank those who were here to present the budget, and I appreciate the board supporting the budget that we put forth. It was a lot of work put into that, and it's also very reassuring to know that, in one's absence, that there are other folks here to pick up my slack. So I appreciate that, definitely. Rob wanted me to mention ironically, we just talked about driver's ed, but our first driver's ed cohort that we had, we went 13 for 13, so all students passed their final exam with the instructor. Not every student is eligible to take their licensing exam yet because they haven't held their permit long enough or whatever. So long-term results we'll see. But the feedback on the course was very good from the students. And we're hoping that we can do the same thing again in the spring. Pending some other grant money that I'm trying to get, and the students paid about half. That's what we agreed to last time, that the board agreed to front half, and they paid half basically. That seemed to work out really well, and people seemed very appreciative of that. We are working also to have a summer class as well for driver's education. We're working with Mr. Sleeman from the high school, who is a licensed instructor, and has tentatively agreed to teach at least one section in the summer for us, which would be between 15 and 18 students. And so, we're just making a little dent in it. We're certainly not capturing the market because there's too many kids to go around, but it was good. All of our entire cohort of LNA students also passed their board exams on the first round out. That's the second or third time, which is pretty impressive, both their clinical and their writtens. Our fall CDL cohort, they have also all passed their commercial driver's licensing exam. Some took a couple times to do that, but that's okay, that's what we're here for. And so those are very successful. The EMT course, which we are co-hosting with the Benton Rescue Squad, which starts soon, is full. There are new courses starting tonight for GD&T and manufacturing, and so Rob continues to plug along really well at filling these foundation courses that we need. I think we finally found a CDL instructor. I don't want to jinx it, but it's been difficult at best to find someone to do that. I think I'll have a name to bring to the board here for you probably in March. We still have to do some of the interviewing and stuff with them. It's becoming very busy here, time of season after the holidays. All the CTSOs are starting to ramp up their competitions, as I indicated, particularly culinary, because I can smell them. But a lot of fundraising is going on, a lot of things for the programs to get these trips, off the ground and going. And it'll just continue to be crazy from here on out the end of the school year with the multiple trips. I see Sandy shaking her head out there, arranging transportation and bus drivers and substitutes and everything else. But they're really important for our students. Students leave every year with a ton of scholarships and accolades for the programs in which they're in. I'd also like to talk briefly about, as you know, we were selected as one of 2 pilot sites in the state under Act 189, which talks about governance and funding of tech centers. We have been focused on the last few months on just a different funding mechanism for for all tech centers, but particularly the pilot centers, which are our school, as well as Springfield River Valley Tech Center, and Hannaford Center is at the table, although not an official grant recipient of the act. So the initial report goes to the legislature January 15th, which is just a couple days away. I don't have the complete report yet, so I can't give it to you, but the meetings have been very productive with the Agency of Education. I've learned a lot, as I shared with some of you, about school financing, and really this is about being more transparent to the taxpayers about what it costs to offer career tech education to students across Vermont. It's about transparency, not about new taxes or different taxes. It's just about how, you know, how people pay for access to career tech ed. And what we've learned, as I'm sure was shared last month, for us, you know, the average impact on the tax rate is about 5 cents to run the tech centers, where high schools, and I'm not talking just about Mount Anthony, I'm talking about all high schools, you know, in Vermont, are around $1.32. Elementary districts are about $1.50, give or take, before you adjust everything, and we're 5 to 6 cents. So we're still the best bargain in town to offer high quality CTE to our students, and that's true of all tech centers in Vermont. And so it's been a lot of work and a lot of driving and a lot of time in Montpelier and Middlebury, but I think it's worth it in the long haul. And so what we're hoping the legislature takes up is that they allow the pilots to continue, or to begin operating under this, you know, new funding mechanism, if you will, for a period of 3 to 4 years, to see if it makes any difference in the way that students are educated and how many students attend the center, and how voters, you know, approve budgets statewide. So the next piece of it will be governance, and it's interesting, the 3 districts at the table are the only 3 centers that went independent and serve, you know, have a regional board like ours. I think that's because we have the autonomy and the support to do that and be part of these different initiatives in the state. So, you know, in the end, I don't know what's going to come out of the legislature, but I think our work has been very productive, and I'm proud of the work that Scott and myself and Dana have done with our consultants, Deb, and others up at the AOE. So look forward to reporting more on that to you when I have actually more concrete information. But that is a 2-year grant, so some of that is this year, and some of it we'll be able to spend next year as well. And that's about decentralizing CTE offerings and, you know, new and innovative ways to do things at the tech center with some funding behind it, which is kind of nice. So that's kind of what I have tonight.
That's short.
Yeah, did we ever get the simulator, remember, the first CDO?
Not yet. It is, we keep getting notices that it will be here any day, and it seems to be any week, and then any month. No, it's coming. Thanks for asking about that, Ken. We've actually been working on the room, well, Paul and his crew have been working on the room downstairs, where that's gonna go, and redoing the floors and whatnot in there. And so that's supposed to be here soon. That's the best I can give you. And also our new bus that you bought is due to be here either the last week in January up until February 15th. So it's been ordered, and they're tracking it, it's in production, and we're hoping to get it here soon because we kind of need it. So
Just don't let her.
just don't let her. Yeah, exactly. It's like the trailer for Billy Trains. We haven't let her drive. We don't know what we're doing with the name. So anyway, more to come on that.
All right, let me bring up the February meeting. Traditionally, we don't have a February meeting. Does anybody have any comments, ideas, thoughts about why we should, or what?
Can't imagine if we have nothing to talk about, there's no sense in having a meeting, but that's my opinion.
I know, I just thought there'd be all sorts of people telling me
Well,
about
I'm gonna be all broken up about it, but
Historically, I think we've only had meetings in February when we had to approve and warn a budget, and we're ahead of the game this year, so I don't see a point in the meeting.
Yeah, it's been several years since I recall us
Yeah.
having a February meeting. The next meeting we will have will be the March annual floor meeting on Monday night,
March
March
2.
2nd, okay. And that will also be my last night. I am officially retiring from the school boards. I started in '92, elementary schools, high schools. I was on the Vermont school boards. I've done it all, and I've spent many a night, sometimes 3 or 4 hours a night. This is the best gig I ever had. We're in and out of here, and this is a long night. This is a 50 minutes. So I started here in 2008, 3 years as a board member, and the next 6 years I was assistant chair, and in the last 3, I've had the honor and the pleasure to be the chair. And it's a little bit sad in one sense to say goodbye, and in another sense it's like, see ya. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen, before we retire? And I mean retire.
Thank you for all
Just
your work.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for all your time on the board, so.
I wasn't really looking for that, just wound up. Actually, there's a few guys that play cards and stuff with it, I just wanted, hey, see you guys. So, thank you.
I want you to leave your notebook.
You can have it all. You can have everything. Like, I just gotta, what do they call that? You gotta go through there and edit all the stuff out of the.
Oh, redacted.
Redacted. All right, we're done, I think. Good night.